Well, hello there, and welcome to episode 34 of the podcast, Jump into Success. Alrighty, let's go. Alrighty. Hello there, and a big welcome to you. Now, the eagle-eyed will have noticed we've been missing for a while. And truthfully, the reason for that is we've just been so flat out busy here at UKCPD with lots of different projects, and we've announced those now on the blog. But essentially, we've now launched our brand new certified CPD program and digital credential program, and some other things as well that are just being rolled out across the entire platform to all our members and our students. Very, very exciting. And so thank you for your patience on that. But it really will add a huge new dimension to what we do, the quality of what we do, especially with the digital credentials and how people can share their achievements across social media, digital CVs and all of that kind of stuff. It's very, very exciting. So back to the podcast. So what have we got for you today? So we've done a couple of recordings in between things. I've just not had time to edit them and get them up. So this is with Donald McNaughton. Now, Donald and I have been friends for many, many years. We did some of our master practitioner training together way back when. That's a long time ago. But yeah, we did. So and we struck up a friendship, and we've stayed connected. In fact, Donald's worked with us on our master practitioner before, teaching his Spiral of Success program, and so on. So great interview. See what you think, and I'll wrap up at the end. Enjoy the interview. Okay, so as I've said, today's special guest is Don McNaughton, or Donald, and Donald and I go way back. We did some of our training together. It feels like 100 years ago now.
I know, it's been a while, Tony.
It's been a while, and he lives up in the far-flung north of United Kingdom, up in that country we call Scotland.
North of the north.
North of the north. Next stop, I don't know, Sweden, Finland, the North Pole, who knows? Yeah. It's up there somewhere. Donald, how are you?
Good to see you, Tony. I'm very well, thanks.
Good. Right, I obviously know you quite well, and we go way back and have had a good relationship. And actually, you've done quite a lot of different guest training sessions for the college.
Yes. Yeah.
For those who are listening to this podcast, tell us about yourself, what you do, how you ended up doing it, a little bit of context.
I specialise, I suppose. I do a lot of work in sport, so high performance sport, and also do kind of leadership development and corporate world, but it ties teamwork, high performance teams. A lot of my work would be in professional sport. I work a lot in football, motor racing. I've done just now I'm working in boxing, and again I'm working in football. So across everything from polo to rugby league this day.
They seem like strange bedfellows.
I know they do. They do. Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are interested in sports, and famously, of course, I'm not. But what kind of thing is it you do? Because I know you're a coach, you're NLP trained.
Yeah.
I think you're a master trainer, NLP as well.
Yeah.
So what is it that you do with these sports people to help them get those medals or win the league or whatever it is that they're doing?
Well, it can be a bit of a cliche. If I say I work in professional sport, first thing people will say is, so do you like motivate people? And if I'm being lazy, I say, oh yeah, that's what I do. You know, and just to move on. But that's not really what I'm doing. In order to be Olympian, so I've worked a lot of Olympian winter sports and skiing and snowboarding. In order to be Olympian, you've got the motivation. So I'm not motivating. What I'm doing is, in a lot of different ways, I would be working on confidence sometimes, because confidence comes and goes. You'll be working on mental toughness, resilience. You can be working on focus and concentration, or you can be working on, what else? You'd be working, again, resilience, bouncing back from making a mistake. Or in team sports, you can be developing a high performance team, so you can get them closest to the 100%. Really, what I think I do is I'm almost like an accelerator to the team building process. So I'm working at that constantly. But a lot of the goal comes from my clients. They come from the athletes and the team, the coaches.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And would you sort of, do you have sort of, and I'm going to ask you this because some of the guys knew I was going to be speaking to you, and they're really interested in sports.
Mm.
Is there a particular NLP model or methodology that you use, or is it like a combination, or maybe even your own kind of bespoke thing you've developed over the years?
Yeah. I think we spoke. I use a lot. I use my spiral of success, which is about
Yes, and you've done that here for us.
there, which is about kind of moving from a lower level of performance to a higher level, and the stages in between. So I use that as a law as a kind of basic or a fundamental framework in order to help people improve. But I would say one of the hardest things for people to learn is you have to almost go in with a blank sheet. So you have to go in, well, I certainly do. I go in not knowing what's going to be asked of me initially. So you have to wait to see what people need or want to start off, and then address it as it goes. So I wouldn't go in with I'm going to do logical levels before I've kind of had conversation. So you have to be able to think on your feet and adapt organically to the challenges that are in front of you. I always say probably the best way of putting it is, what's the difference between theory and practice? The difference is, in theory, there's no difference. So, and of course, it's not like, I think sport in particular, because it's so fast moving and it's very physical, it's not really an academic kind of coaching you do. You have to coach so it makes sense to the athlete in front of you, who a lot of the time, a lot of their knowledge and wisdom are in their body. So sometimes you'll have to, coach through the body more than anything else.
Right. Wow. I guess the question for me, actually, and since I moved here to live in Somerset, and Doug's sister, husband, and dad live here. They live literally 10 minutes from us. And, I've sat in their front room, and they're all sport mad, rugby in particular. They're mad about rugby.
Yeah.
They talk about, how psychology has impacted rugby in particular. I don't know what level I'm talking about because I don't know. But they're always saying, well, you must know this because you work in NLP and coaching. You must know this. I said, well, I know what you're talking about, but that's not my field. I guess my question is, compared to the work that I do working with leaders or senior managers in organizations, could you draw a parallel between like an elite sports person and a senior manager in a big organization?
Totally. Totally. And that's, what I spend a lot of my time on now is with management teams and leadership, developing leaders from the ground floor up, then help them get insights through sport that increases their performance in business. And people will say, well, what's the similarity? And I always say, sport reflects society. It's a reflection of the society it comes. But also football, rugby, motor racing. Football in particular is my go-to one, but you could use rugby, any team one in particular, is it amplifies and condenses learning very quickly. So you see in 190 minutes, people will go through all emotions. They have to make decision making. A coach has to think on their feet. Their plan starts. They have a plan, and then they lose one in 5 minutes. How do you react to that? A player, a centre forward scores a goal one Saturday, feels he can take on the world. The next Saturday, he's tripping over his laces. So you have to be able to, it allows you to give examples that are really clear and simple, that allows leaders to cut through the complexity of business now. And of course, business is getting very complex. So you don't want to make it more complicated. You want it to make it simple so people can take action.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of get that, and I suppose you're right. You could be on the football pitch this Saturday, get a goal, and you're running around, and you feel like you take over the universe. And then the next week, your team doesn't do so good. You're out in your rear, type of thing.
Yeah,
it kind
yeah.
of, it's because the money involved in elite sport now, especially football. I mean, it's just bonkers. So I guess there's a lot of pressure.
And, if I use rugby for an example, that how many games are decided in the last 10 minutes or the last quarter? Some of the strategy sometimes, if teams are relatively level, is we'll hold our own till the last 15 minutes, then we'll come to the forward, because we're stronger fitted, or we've got someone with the mental strength that can kick a goal in the last 5 minutes.
I think we had an example of rugby just recently, didn't we? England at the last minute.
It happens all the time. It happens all the time. So, I loved it. It's a long time ago now when the British Lions were touring South Africa, and I think it was Jeremy Gaskett kicked the drop goal to win the test.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Last kick, and he wins the test. So what differentiates high-performance sports people and teams is how your skills hold up under pressure. That is the same for business people.
Yeah.
Can you make the right decision when you have to make it quickly and under pressure?
Yeah. I guess a lot of it's just about state management.
It's about state management, definitely. About decision. Then out of that comes your decision making.
Yeah.
And your forward, your focus, and all these things. But you're bang on. What happens? I used to work with traders in the city, and of course, when we're fearful, what happens is, we go fight, flight, or freeze. But the technical term is we get thicker. So that frontal part of the brain, the cognitive part, actually the blood and oxygen starts to go to survival more than intricate decision making. And that is why some of the smartest people can't pass exams, because they can't access the information, because the cortisol and everything is going through the body. So there's a lot of crossovers, I think.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Now, I know you've published 2 books, minimum, I think, 2 books.
Yeah. I've published
tell us about, and people who are listening in, tell us about those books.
Well, I suppose my first one is probably my standard one, which was The 12 Hidden Laws of Performance. And it's very much about what we're speaking about just now, Tony. What is the big lesson that you can take and apply to anything, whether it's sport, business, your life, your hobbies? And one of the first key ones is, I always think it's not complicated. It always comes down to developing and keeping your passion about what you're doing. So remember when you're a kid. When you're a kid, I loved football. So I played football, on a Saturday. I played football after school because you love doing it. And if you love something, you do it more, you get better. So I think as we get into the adult stage, sometimes we lose those simple things, so it's keeping on developing your passion for your job, if it's the thing you want to do, your hobbies, your football, your rugby, reminding yourself why you're doing it. So you don't get in that grey area of everything being the same, where the thing that used to excite you just becomes grey. I bet you a lot of people can have had moments in their life when they've been like that, whether it's in their business or within their job or within their hobby. They used to love it, and now it's the same thing. So one of the keys to high performance is keeping on developing that goal, that thing that you love. And also, it's not just doing the thing you love, it's actually refining it so it's a skill that gets you results. And if I take that into business, the ideal is doing something you love, something you can be great at, and something the world values and will exchange money.
Yeah.
So that's
I
what
guess
a great
that's
business
the
is.
secret sauce, that you love
Yeah,
it so much,
yeah,
somebody's willing to pay you some cash for
yeah.
your time or your expertise.
And that's like, Tony, the sweet spot, because
Mm.
mostly everyone can get really good at something by just practicing,
Yeah,
but they don't actually live it. That's the classic of people coming to
yeah,
retirement age and thinking, "Oh, I wish I was a painter, not a painter and decorator, but Van Gogh
yeah, yeah, yeah,
or something like that." Or and their life flown by, and they've just developed a skill through practice, but they've got well remunerated for it.
yeah,
And it's like threading treacle for years. I know so many people like that. So the key is getting that sweet spot as well. So that book looks at things like that. It looks at things like, again, what we talked about, that success isn't linear. It's ups and downs, and how you come back from the downs, and how you learn from them, how you get through that emotional pain, because there might be no such thing as failure, but it feels rubbish. I don't want to deny that.
yeah. This feedback feels like rubbish.
Yeah, and I'm saying that politely.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Someone
I'm being
set me
polite.
up
We're
and I've
recording.
fallen down. I wouldn't be having it. I think, get out.
Yeah,
So it's getting through that emotional bit and taking the learnings from it as well. So coming back to what you asked, the 2 or 3 questions in, that is why football in particular, all the other sports as well, but football in particular, is such a global sport, because it's simple to understand. They're trying to overcomplicate it, but it's simple to understand.
when you
Everyone
say
gets
it's
it.
simple, I still
What's
don't get
that?
the offside thing. The more people explain
Oh,
offside rule to me, the more I get. But that
well,
doesn't make any sense.
it was really simple, but now they're trying to. It's like any industry. They think they have
Yeah,
to get jargon and have experts, and the experts are the only ones that understand the offside rule. And of course, the offside rule is simple in its essence, but that's why sports are global businesses. They should be easy to
yeah,
understand, and
yeah,
they pull you in. You feel part of it, and
yeah. Yeah, and you can see
that's
that in
just
the
the way
passion
it
that
is.
you have. People have
Yeah,
for sports. Yeah.
yeah,
Somebody explained to me
and it could
once.
be anything. Carry on, Tony.
Yeah, yeah. So somebody explained to me once why David Beckham was successful, and it was because not only did he love it, but he loved football.
I
And
know.
while the other kids were out on the street corners having a can of cider or whatever, he was watching football and studying, modeling, from an NLP point of view.
Yeah.
But he wasn't doing it just because I want to do that because I want to make money. I want to do that because I really love it and I want to be great
Yeah.
at it. And of course, he got all the rewards. So that was your first book, and your second book.
It was called Talent Unlimited, and that was about a lot, really, about fixed and growth mindset. So it was looking at that. So a fixed mindset coming from the work of Carol Dweck in
Yeah,
America.
yeah. I
A
reference
fixed
her work all the
mindset is,
time. Yeah.
yeah. Well, you'll know her. I know actually she was really generous with her time. I visited her at Stanford University and spent some time with her
All
there.
right.
She gave me about half an hour, just one-to-one in the time, and was really generous. And of course, a fixed mindset is about your talent is natural. Right? Everything comes easy, and often facilitated by parents or school teachers or coaches to say, Tony, you're a natural. You're a natural at this
Yeah, yeah.
podcasting. Like you didn't have to work at it. So you get
Yeah,
used to
right.
thinking everything should be easy. And then
Yeah,
eventually you hit a stage where everyone is as talented as you. And if you haven't learned hard work, usually you'll stop doing it, or you'll go to a level where you can be the star at. And of course, growth mindset, you can still be good at something seemingly naturally, but you realize that your success and failure is through what you've learned to do, or the effort you've put in, or what you haven't put in. So it's very much about the process rather than about you. So it's not less an ego thing.
yeah.
So it's very much looking around that, which is
Good stuff.
huge in schools and that now.
Yeah. Good. We'll mention the connections to your books in the show notes. So coming up to the end of our time, so we asked the same question to pretty much everybody. And it's easy because we're in a similar sort of industry and background. So favorite personal development book, if you want to name one?
Well, I was looking for it this last week and I've misplaced it, and because it's Sleight of Mouth, of course, by our friend Robert Dill. I just love that book. That's my favorite book. Yeah, so, and I've been looking for it.
Another edition.
Yeah. I've seen the second one, but the first one for me is just a great one. And I've got all post-its still sticking out of it and everything.
That's what happens.
Underlined, and I've put it somewhere, and I've got another copy of it. I've got 2 copies, but I want the one that I've written in.
All the markings. I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I'm a great fan of Robert's, as you know. We're sort of colleagues in a way. It's his birthday last week, or is it this week? This week. We've just gone. I'm getting my days mixed up. It's a huge influence on us here, Robert has, and our college. Great. Now then, next question then. Favorite NLP model or coaching model?
Well, I would say the first, probably a logical level. Again, Robert Dill, because it helps you make sense of so many things, even without saying it explicitly to anyone. It helps you pinpoint or gives you a clue to where the problems or the challenges are for someone, or where they're heading, so their goals or their challenges. So I would say a logical level.
Yeah. It's interesting because NLP is 50 years old in a couple of months.
Wow.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it? And we're talking about it here as a team, and we're thinking, the things that stand out. And Robert is one of the biggest influences. You think this model, a lot of it is Robert. And there's the meta model from John and Richard in the early days, and Milton model, but a lot of it is Robert's stuff. It's amazing the influence he's had on the field. So powerful. Which is pretty kind of cool. And I guess then the last question we ask everybody is, and some people have one and some people don't, your sort of favorite inspiration or motivational quote.
Well, without a doubt, mine is, sometimes life's greatest gift can badly rap. And I think that was by the guy that wrote the 4 Agreements. I think it was a Mexican, Ruiz, or Mexican guy. And I think that's just brilliant, because I think often it's the thing you're ashamed of, you don't want to speak about, your biggest hurt, is the thing that actually unlocks your gift to the world.
Yeah.
And
I tend to agree.
Yeah.
I had an experience, I don't mind sharing this with you and anybody listening. Dyslexic. So growing up, beaten black and blue in school, the good nuns and the priests and the brothers, they didn't believe in any of that. You're right. You will learn these things. We'll beat you till you do. But anyway, so it was always been a torment for me. And then I was in a London bookstore, and I was just browsing like you do. I was on a training course, and it was lunchtime. I was just browsing and then this book, I saw it, and I went, and I almost wanted to shout and pull the book off the shelf and rip it to shreds. It was The Gift of Dyslexia. You must be joking. Gift, I'll give you a gift. But I bought the book and I read it, and I remember thinking, yeah, that's right. That is how I've enabled myself to do the things I've done in life, because of my different way of thinking. And people say, you're not going to do things. Well, I'll show you I can, and I will. Almost. The bloody-mindedness almost.
As well as yourself, there's so many ultra successful people, that have, from an early age, had that challenges and were dyslexic, and they've worked it out how to get the best out of themselves, haven't they? It's incredible.
You've got to work that bit out, though.
Yeah.
But once you do, it's kind of interesting. Great. Now, Donald, how can people get hold of you if they wanted to know more about you?
Well, I think you're putting this up on LinkedIn, so then get me through LinkedIn, Don
I will do, yeah.
McNaughton,
Put your link to LinkedIn, your website.
or I think anything with Don McNaughton coaching. So that's all my social media is Don McNaughton, Instagram, Facebook. The website's donmcnaughtoncoaching.com, or just drop me a message there. So, and I'll pick it up. Well, there's actually another author who wrote a book about the parachute regiment, so he keeps on popping up.
It's an interesting combination.
I know. And yeah. And if anyone wants to contact me, I'll go and pick my mail up at the bottom of the glen once a month. Yeah. I'm up here. I travelled about a week to get internet connection here.
Oh my god! Wow. I am. It's not my name, Tony Nutley. So I thought it was just me. And then somebody, a student actually, this is a couple of years ago, said, "I've been looking at some of your photographs online. They're rather fruity." And I went, "What are you talking about?" Because there was a guy, he's passed away now.
Yeah.
He was a glamour photographer. And he had the same name as me. Yeah. So there's lots of... You'll
never believe this, Tony, about, a long time ago now, I was going into this military facility down your way, actually, and I had a pass. And I went to get my pass to go back in. And the guy before me had got my pass, and I had his pass, and his name was Don McNaughton as well.
No.
You wouldn't believe that, would you?
Small world sometimes, isn't it?
I know, incredible.
Alrighty, this has been brilliant. Don, absolutely fantastic to catch up. And I'll let you know when it goes out live, and we look forward to having you back again at some time in the future.
Yeah, I would be delighted to, Tony. Good to see you again.
Okay, so there you are. I'm sure you enjoyed that. We've got some more lined up for you, so we'll roll those out over the next couple of weeks. Till the next time, take care of yourselves, and bye for now.